You're listening to Around Comics. 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 Comics.
You are listening to Around Comics episode 442. I'm Brian Salazar. I'm joined by Christopher Niesman.
Hello.
Tom Caters. As
Chris is
usual,
drinking.
gentlemen.
Looks like tea. Are you drinking a tea there?
It's
It's got a lemon in it. Lemon
a hot
slice.
toddy. It's a hot.
It's a hot toddy. Is it a mulled wine? A hot
Nah,
wine?
it's a little American whiskey, little demerara sugar syrup, a cinnamon stick, a couple cloves, and a dehydrated slice of apple and lemon.
Jesus. Wow.
You got way too much free time. Although I can't really. I made a nice old fashioned.
Way more complicated than mine.
No, not
Yeah.
at all.
It's
What are you
only like
talking
2
about?
seconds
Bourbon,
like
bitters, shake it up, pour it in a glass, orange, and a cherry. What is there? What's complicated about that?
Where's your sugar at?
Just simple sugar.
Okay, that's what I put in mine. Is simple syrup.
You
I'm
have
drinking
dehydrated fruit.
I have.
I'm drinking
What do you do?
a fancy
Whenever-
free.
When you have a lime or a lemon and you have to
Let
use it
Tom
for something,
say what he's
and,
drinking.
And you okay, Tom? What are you drinking?
Drinking a fancy free. It's
Oh.
bourbon,
Mm-hmm.
cherry liqueur, and bitters. It's like a Manhattan, just like without. I don't like vermouth. I've learned that about myself. Like I don't like vermouth drinks that much. So
I
was
much prefer an old fashioned to like a Manhattan because I don't really like the vermouth.
So
as well.
you're not even like a sweet vermouth. It's like I understand
No.
the dry vermouth, but yeah,
No.
the sweet vermouth, yeah, it's its own thing.
The only thing I do like a sweet vermouth in is an Americano, not the coffee, but like Campari, sweet vermouth, and seltzer. It's like a Negroni without the gin. That's pretty good, but that's about the only drink I actually like sweet vermouth in. Otherwise, if it has vermouth in it, I usually pass because I don't know. Don't like
Welcome
it.
to Around Alcohol.
Round cocktails, around cocktails.
Around boozers.
It's
Around
been a
grown
couple
men who have liquor preferences. You know, you get old enough, you're like,
Yeah.
you're like,
It is a
want
thing,
that.
like,
It's got for me.
I found this year too, like, now that I'm working from home full time, it's
Mhm.
like it's just too easy to just sort of be like, well, I have a little I've saved at least an hour, if not more, every day, not having to drive somewhere to go to work. And so that hour is like, well, I can make myself a drink a little earlier in the day, and why not?
Yeah, it's whenever that turns into like 11 in the morning. That's
No.
Yeah, it's
not me.
don't
I'm
do
not.
that.
That's
This
a
is
problem.
1 p.m. 1 p.m. every day.
I have a friend who has gotten big into tiki drinks. His bar, he has a bar in his basement, and
Damn, that's intense.
It
get
is,
into.
and he's into. I mean, like he has this book. I think I talked about the book. It was a pretty cool book. He has this book that's like all these guys that love tiki drinks. They went back to like the who was the original guy, the beachcomber guy.
Yeah. We've talked about
the guy that basically
that guy.
created. Yeah, and so
The
he
tiki
does like
drinks,
these old recipes from like the 40s and 50s, and they're really good, but they're fucking 151 gin or rum.
Yeah,
and
they
a
got
bunch
weird
of
syrups in them too. Yeah, like weird. Like,
Most
Okay.
of them can be lit on fire.
Oh, I'm
There
back.
he is.
Hey,
Yeah, I mean,
sorry.
like the classic recipe for a zombie is like filled with insane, weird ingredients, like liqueurs that, like, like you'd have to go to Binny's to get the liqueurs, and even then, you might be like, "Hey, like, do you have this?" And they'll probably be like
No,
one bottle of it
he
from like.
he like stocks up on stuff when he's able to find it because he can't always find stuff, and he travels around. Yeah, he's really, really into it. But it's fun to go over there and play poker, and then he mixes up some
Yeah.
wild concoctions. And the last
got
time
the
I was there, so he has
blender.
this got a
He's got
blender. He's
blender
got a
with-
whole tiki bar. Like he has tiki decorations, and yeah, he's really he built a porthole. So he went and ordered like a brass
Hilarious.
porthole. And then he
I
put
put
an
my
LCD,
hands up, like
he put an
I'm
LCD
like,
screen
"Ah!"
behind it
With a
and
like fish.
mounted it. And yeah, and so he has like fish and
Fish.
jellyfish and ocean
Send me
scenes.
pictures next time.
It's so
you
cool.
go.
I want to build
Yeah.
one. It was a great idea.
Cool.
Yeah.
You know, we have
That's
a
a
tiki,
commitment.
we
That's
have
a commitment.
we have a tiki bar in Wauwatosa. You know what the name is?
Tiki RS.
No, it's
Tiki.
Wauwatiki.
Wauwatiki. There you go.
Yeah.
Original.
You would like it. It's
So-
actually a pretty sweet tiki bar.
I don't think there's many tiki bars that I don't like. I mean,
Yeah.
that's they're cool. They're throwbacks. They're even and sort of the cheaper and the campier
Yeah.
and the better for me. Like I enjoy.
Hmm.
I don't want like
Yeah,
a
we
high
talked-
class tiki
yeah,
bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked about that place in the basement of the Fairfont in San Francisco, the Tonga Room, the place that everyone that works there just like is so angry that it's still open, but the locals won't let it close because it's like a historical landmark. And they're just like, oh God, there's people here. It's got its own elevator to go down there. But yeah, I mean, it's like an old 1920s pool, right? Like with water in it now.
Like Art
the band
Deco
plays,
kind of.
yes,
Mhm.
the band plays in a boat in the middle
Oh
of
wow.
the pool.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's like
Yes.
it's like barely decorated enough to like not look just like a pool. Right. It's just got
Right.
just enough, like it's
Just
not
enough.
like maybe at one point it was more elaborate and over the years it's been pared down. But
If I
Wanna
I
go.
got to get out there. I got to go visit. Yeah. Let's make a
Yeah.
trip. Special trip to the Tonga Room.
Oh, speaking of tiki, and since this is a comic book podcast, I hear that Hawaiian Dick may be getting
Return?
some traction again.
Dick is
Yeah.
back.
Some heat?
Hawaiian Dick.
Yeah, it's Clay's been making some posts there. I mean, there was the huge like the Kickstarter, which I think I backed like 8 years ago, which I still haven't gotten the the
Hey
whatever
Clay,
it
you might
was.
want to pay off your
The
Kickstarter
great
people
big
before-
Hawaiian Dick needs to come
Yeah.
out. So
it's only
Yeah.
been 8 years though. You gotta give them time.
man, it's Kickstarter.
Right.
You take your
Kickstarter,
chances, right?
baby. It ain't a
Take your-
store.
Take your chances. Take your chances.
Take your chances.
Yeah.
Did I show you guys my sweet Rocketeer pen that finally came in?
I
You
thought
told us about it, but
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, it finally came in. There's the pen. If
That's
you're
sweet.
if
That's a nice
you're
pen.
listening to this, this is not that
Is it
exciting.
like Is it like
Oh,
a
it's
got
fountain
the-
pen?
It's got the
but-
helmet.
no,
on
it's
the end.
ballpoint. It's I love
Ballpoint?
these. It's
Okay.
these companies called Retro 51, and they're like these tornado
Oh, okay.
ballpoint pens that I
Oh,
love.
okay,
I love
okay.
how they write.
Nice.
And then it came
Welcome
in
to
the
Pen
sweet
Talk.
pen talk. Well, this is comic
can
book
talk
related.
pens.
It's
Yeah, it's
Rocketeer.
Dave
No, it's
Stevens, right?
pens.
Came in this
When my
sweet
workplace. Oh yeah, that's
box.
nice. That looks nice.
And then it came with a challenge coin too, as well.
Really?
In there.
Oh, it's highly collectible, Sal.
A
Oh,
place I
yeah.
used to
It's
work
limited.
used to have really nice pens. My favorite pens. They were like these gel pens that were and then we won Bic as a client and we had to get Bic pens
Ah,
and they
They're terrible.
fucking sucked. I went and had to go buy my own pens and expense them
Yeah.
because I'm like, I'm not using this bullshit cheap Bic pen.
No, I used to work for Sanford. I was the Sharpie brand designer way back when.
Way back when. What
Way
was
back
your
when.
claim to fame? What was the one?
I
New
designed the Sharpie metallic logo. That's
Oh,
still in
look at that.
use. And the
Are you getting
Sharpie Pro.
royalties?
No,
You getting royalties off
I
that?
was paid. I was like an old comic book creator, Sal. I was paid for hire.
Yep.
Couldn't even get my original artwork back.
Uh-oh, we lost Tom again. Tom keeps dropping
We
off for
lost
some
Tom.
reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
how was your Thanksgiving?
It was pleasant. We had Thanksgiving. We hosted it at our house. So we had
So you
about,
smoked a
I don't
turkey?
know, 15 people. I smoked a turkey on my Traeger.
Nice.
I didn't brine it. I know that that's become a big thing nowadays. People love to brine turkeys. I'm not a believer. I'm anti-brine. I'm anti, but I did
it. What I think brining does, it widens the window of error. Right?
Well, that's for amateurs. I mean that.
Well,
no. Yeah, I don't have anything against it.
It widens the window of error. I think brining does, have a good effect.
Oh no, I laughed and we're talking
Turkey
brining.
We're talking brining. All right, so I'm going to speed things up. I asked Sal how his Thanksgiving was. He said it was great. I assume the yours was great. I want to talk some Black Friday deals.
Okay. All right.
So
do we have a sponsor?
I did tons of shopping for myself. I got the complete Cowboy Bebop on Blu-ray for like $14. I'm very excited.
You have a Blu-ray player?
PlayStation 5.
PS5.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was just talking to my wife about the fact that we speaking of Black Friday, we actually bought a TV from Costco, a new one, and I was like unhooking all the stuff from the back, and I was like, oh, we still have like a CD, like a DVD / Blu-ray player connected to our TV, which I don't think I've used since my children have been born.
Sure.
Like I have a Blu-ray. Remember?
Yeah. I have a Blu-ray player right over here. I don't know where the remote is, and I haven't used it in probably a decade. I haven't.
Yeah. I actually do. There are things that I have on Blu-ray that are not available on streaming.
Of course.
Otherwise, it's easy to stream it. But there are some things that I'll pull Blu-rays or DVDs out for.
Cowboy Bebop.
It's available on, I think, HBO or whatever.
Everything is available if you look hard enough.
If you look hard enough, but sometimes it is just easy to pull it off of the shelf.
What did you get, Chris?
Big sale on D&D books. I got some sweet campaigns.
Oh my god!
And buy two get one free. I'm excited.
When are you going to run that campaign? Aren't you supposed to run a D&D campaign?
When you want. I think I think we were waiting to make a decision on whether we were going to do the new Marvel Superheroes RPG that's coming out, right. And then it's supposed to be coming out, I think, in 2023. Don't quote me on this, but I think there's going to be D&D 5e Dragonlance.
Yeah, that's coming out pretty soon.
So I think we were going to decide on whether we were going to do a Dragonlance or a Marvel Superheroes campaign.
I don't know. I wish I had more brain energy that I could be a DM these days, but I just don't think I have. I tried it, and it's hard. It's a lot of. I appreciate anyone that. Yeah. It is.
Do you think it's because, Sal, that you're such a pre-planner?
Yeah. Well, that's part of it.
It requires some of it. Obviously, requires some of that. But
Tom, I could show you. So I did a campaign that was one of the pre-generated campaigns for 5e. It was like the Dragons of something or another. I don't remember what it was called. And my kids wanted to play, so I was going to DM this campaign for them, and I went through the entire book. I read the entire book front to back. Then I annotated every part that I basically told the story in my head of the campaign so that I could understand how I wanted them to like experience it. And then I added dialogue, I added NPCs where I
He
thought it
created
needed
his
it.
own language.
I pumped it up. I had to, you know, I brought myself in as like a script, you know, doctor to work on the campaign. And but I overdo it. I go crazy, but it just I really want it to be, especially for my kids. Like I really wanted it to be, but then it turned out to not be that. I mean, they enjoyed it, but it was too much. Like once I realized, like, oh, combat, who gives a shit? I no longer cared about combat so much. Like combat was like, I thought of it more like a John Woo film or like a, you know what I mean? Like I just wanted it to seem cool.
Well, I think you even scrapped the battle map and just went theater of the mind.
Oh yeah, got rid of the battle map because that made it too tactical. Fuck that. Yeah. I didn't want it to be a war game. I wanted it to be an adventure, and that made it better. But
that's one of the nice things about D&D is that you can scratch both of those itches if you want. If you want to make it like a high leverage, you know, tactical, you know, gaming game, you can do that. Or you can go like, you know, pet rainbow horses.
Yeah. The thing now is everybody I talk to that plays, you know, it's mostly younger people, and which is awesome that there's a ton of like 20 somethings that are now playing Dungeons and Dragons and like teenagers.
The Stranger Things effect.
Fucking awesome.
Right?
Love it.
Yeah.
But they do like wacky shit where they've created like the multiverse so like the last person I told you, like they were doing some sort of like Star Trek crossover with Dungeons and Dragons, and then I talked to someone else that was doing basically like Harry Potter, you know, Wizarding World, and
that's cool.
So yeah, it was awesome. It's very cool. I love that there are young people playing Dungeons and Dragons again.
Yeah. Well, I've got a good segue for you on that. Go ahead. Go.
Well, you go right to your segue. If we're going to talk about comics, maybe.
No, it's actually more on the Harry Potter thing.
Then fuck that.
Well, no. I'm
going to interrupt you.
Go fuck yourself.
Let me say what I.
Here, let me mute him, Tom. Here, just there you go. Go ahead, Tom. You go.
Talking about Harry Potter.
Just kidding, Chris.
I forgot what I was going to say actually when I interrupted. So now I lost track.
Now you have to go, Chris.
No, we talked about something in the text thread, whether we had watched it or not, and I was able to watch it before we recorded tonight, and it reminded me of like all the things that I love about Harry Potter, in, you know, like the going to a new school and the fantastic and all that. I watched Wednesday, and yeah, I liked it. It was good. The first episode. Watch the first episode. And you're right. I watched. She is really good.
Jenna Ortega, who is my son's crush. My son has a big crush on Jenna, which is the only. I didn't even know who she was, but he kind of informed me all about her. And she plays Wednesday Addams, and I am an old school Addams Family fan, from the New Yorker cartoons to the TV show I fell in love with, and the movies I think are fantastic. And so this is the new show on Netflix that's just concentrated on Wednesday, although the rest of the family shows up from time to time
this is the family from the new round of movies. Yes.
No. This is completely new. Okay. So, well, the new round of movies are animated.
Okay.
They're good.
So this is like Catherine Zeta-Jones is awesome in this. She's fantastic.
Yeah, you know, honestly, I thought Jenna Ortega was great. I thought the rest of the cast was great. Funny enough, like I was thinking about it a lot watching this show, and it's, you know, this is a show that is, I think it's built for that sort of CW crowd. It's a teen show.
There's a lot of Riverdale. There's a lot of Riverdale in there.
Yes, Scooby-Doo, Riverdale, the Archie Gang. Like it's a very CW teenage. Although I don't think it plays as heavy on the teenage romance stuff and the teenage angst as much, mostly because it's centered on Wednesday, and she finds that pretty
Stupid.
reprehensible. Like
Yeah.
most teenagers things she hates, which is why I kind of love
She doesn't
Wednesday.
have a phone. She didn't have a phone.
Yeah, she doesn't have she thinks social media is
Yeah.
a soul sucking endeavor. And she's the ultimate cynic. I mean, and that's why I obviously am attracted to Wednesday. I relate to Wednesday Addams and always have. But yeah, I think Jenna Ortega is great. I think the rest of the cast is really good. But I did think that like Catherine Zeta-Jones and I can't think of the actor who
plays
Gomez.
Gomez. He's great.
But I didn't think either of them fit the role. That they felt weird to me. Like they felt, and maybe it's just because I like Raul Julia and
Angelica Houston.
Angelica Houston killed those roles. So I mean, they own the, and so maybe it's just that I just, for whatever reason. But Christina Ricci was great as Wednesday in those movies, and
she's good in this too.
And she's good in this. She is in this as one of the teachers at the school. And but the funny thing I was thinking about when I was watching it was Thing. Thing I think is one of the most entertaining parts of the show, and was always one of the most entertaining parts of the movies, of the original TV show. Yeah. And it's like, it's kind of weird. Like it's this inaudible hand, and yet one of the most great fucking character. Like
I love how she talks about how supple his skin is and his preference of hand lotions.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because Thing is such a dumb like 1960s TV sight gag,
right?
Where it's like someone's hand sticking out, and then technology allowed you to be like, well, actually, the hand can just go wherever. So now that's
in the movies, that was the first. I remember watching the first Raul Julia Angelica when that hand moved all over because like you said in the TV show, it was just in the box.
It was just a hand coming out of a box on a table. It was
But that character is like, I don't know. It's so amazing to me that it is a fully developed character at this point that is incredibly entertaining in its own way. And it's a big part of the show.
When he bends the knee, I mean, you got the whole bending of the knee thing. Bends the knuckle.
Bows to Wednesday.
It's got some style too, for the criticism that we've had about Netflix shows sometimes being kind of like a little styleless. A little plain sometimes, and kind of like
about Cowboy Bebop. Boy, the live action one of that was a turd.
Where it's kind of like I don't know, like it doesn't feel like it's got much of like its own like style to it. And I think part of that's the actors bring some of that energy as well to it, where it's got a little something to it, that makes it feel a little unique.
Well, it's produced by Tim Burton, and he directed the first couple episodes. But I was surprised it wasn't that like Burton-esque.
It's not super heavy Burton-esque, but it definitely
really
has,
is.
Like
it's
enough,
definitely
but not
Tim Burton meets the CW.
Yeah. But enough.
But I enjoyed the whole
this Netflix show.
Yeah, super cute.
Kind of like looks like something as opposed to like, oh my god, like this is the set. Sometimes you get in some of them where you're kind of like, I don't know. You feel like you forgot to turn off the soap opera effect on your TV, and you're like, oh wait, no, actually,
Well, it's like the little town. No little town is that fucking cute. Yeah, it's not nearly run down enough to be a small, Midwestern town.
My son has been. We just watched some of the animated movies, like the recent one. And my kids were both into it a lot. Like, I don't know if they'd ever, I don't know, like it's always weird, with kids, like what pop culture stuff like seeps its way to them, and sometimes like you'd be surprised by things that kids know. And then sometimes you're like, oh yeah, like you might not know who the Addams family is, like where would you, like that might not be a thing that has seeped its way into your brain. And
there's
because they were like, what is this? They're like,
Oh, that's awesome.
what is this? And
This is like Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah, my daughter was like singing the theme song from the TV show because we looked it up on YouTube. Because my dad loved the Addams Family, like
Did he?
the TV show from the 60s. Yeah. So, and it's funny, it was only on for 2 seasons, like it wasn't on for that long. There was like 68 episodes because you made like 35 episodes a season, right? But
right.
It wasn't on forever, it wasn't, but like my dad, we used to have like the VHS tapes of the Addams Family, and you would like watch them all the time.
Yeah,
So
that always seemed like
saw-
like an after school thing that like a UHF channel always had Addams Family on at like 4 p.m. or something. It was like Gilligan's Island followed by the Addams Family kind of show.
But the Addams Family felt ancient because it was in black and white, and sometimes Gilligan Island was in color, so it felt like there was 50 years in between them.
It was always weird whenever you saw the Gilligan's Island episodes in black and white because most of them were in color. It's like, this is an old one.
Oh, this is
I love that they had the little nod to the theme song with the kid who is obviously kind of into her, and he goes, "You're kind of kooky," and she's like, "I prefer spooky." It's just like,
there's another you haven't gotten to yet, but there's another nod to it.
Oh, with the snap.
That comes into play later on. You'll see.
It's very
Addams
cute.
Family.
I look forward to watching it.
Addams Family. It was always one of those things like, and I love now that it's sort of morphed a bit into their Latino, like the Addams.
Yes,
Jenna Ortega, Gomez.
His name's Gomez, right?
As someone that grew up with the Addamses and also grew up Latino, it's like it's something I kind of there's a little piece of my heart that's warmed by that for some reason. But Addams Family or the Munsters?
Addams Family.
What Addams Family?
Yeah, I think so. I love the Munsters as well, but I think the Addams Family had a bit more of like a satirical bend to them that I appreciated more. So.
There was that gothy coolness that they had. That it's.
Although I will say,
they're the original goths.
Probably the one thing I loved about the Munsters always was the gag that the daughter, who by any standards was super attractive, was gorgeous, the ugly child in the family. I always appreciated that to the Munster family, she was ugly, and there was something.
Don't worry,
about that.
dear. We'll take care of you. You're probably not going to be able to meet a nice man,
Yeah, she was almost like like some sort of handicapped or something. Yeah, she was. But the other thing I was thinking about when I was watching this was, most of the cartoons appeared in the New Yorker, which I find interesting, thinking about like how it sort of is lampooning the idea of rich white, kind of wasps in New York. In a lot of ways, and then you have this cartoon that was really popular, kind of like poking at that and really making fun of that, and imagining the Addams moving in next door, which was always one of my favorite thing of the TV show, was whenever a neighbor or a businessman or someone would come over to the house,
the mayor,
loved it. All right. Yeah, Wednesday. If you like the Addams Family, I think you'll like Wednesday.
Yeah. I was worried. You said you enjoyed it, and so I watched it, and I was like, "Oh, God damn it! This is something that the 14-year-old girl in Chris, really wants to watch."
I really wish I was smart enough. I bet like either Andy Parks or Phil Hester has like an original Charles Addams somewhere in their collection. You know what I mean? Like, I wish I was smart enough, like 30 years ago, to buy an original Charles Addams. Yeah, because I'm sure
I'll reach out to Andy and maybe we can follow up on that, and he can throw a picture our way, because I'll guarantee you he's got a Charles Addams strip.
One of them has to, right?
One of them does. One of them absolutely does.
Talking about comics.
Yeah, hit it, Tom.
Comic book artists. You guys read Human Target?
I did not.
I did catch up on it. You
guys
didn't.
talk
You said
about
you were going to catch up on.
I was going to, and I got caught up in the John's Justice Society of America.
I read that as well, so we can talk about
So
that.
why don't you guys? I'm going to go freshen up my tea. Why don't you guys start talking about Human Target, and I'll be back in a minute.
Wow. Okay.
The last time we talked about it is when they kind of took that break, and that issue was like kind of my least favorite of all of them. And I was kind of like, I don't know. Like I started like, this might be going a direction I'm not like as jazzed about. But then the next 3 issues came out, and it's like, oh wait, no, okay, like that. I
was wrong. I do love it again.
Or it was just like, oh, okay, it's not what I was worried about with the whole Guy Gardner thing, as like, like the reveal at the end of the newest issue, which was my favorite one. The whole idea that he's afraid Batman is following him, right? And Batman never makes an appearance in the entire story, but
the cover, you see the shadow, but other than that, that's the only time you see Batman.
Other than that, it's just him the whole time, like worried that Batman's figured out that they were conning people about Guy Gardner, and like, it was cool because the issue before, which I think was the Red Rocket one, I was sort of like, oh, okay, like this is a fun storytelling thing that they're doing, but I'm kind of like, there's not like a whole lot here other than like having fun with the idea of like him losing a day, like of his 12 days,
almost like
being
a filler,
constantly knocked out. Yeah, almost a little bit. It was like kind of fun. But then the Batman one, I was like, oh yeah, because it's great because like you said, Batman shadows on the cover, but he doesn't say Batman for like half the book. But he's talking about Batman because Batman's shadow is on the front of it. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. That's like a cool... It went from me being worried that it was going to be like, oh, God, this is like a Justice Leaguer gets murdered, which person, we know who did it. Now it's going to just be kind of like I don't know, like turn the Baha Justice League into like they're all sad losers, there's a murder, like okay.
It's the Watchmen. It's the Watchmen of JLR.
Yeah, but it didn't. It kind of turned around, and it's like, okay, this isn't that. Okay, I'm glad because like in a lot of ways, I think it's such a different. We talk about Tom King all the time, and we talk about sort of like a lot of his books can be kind of serious or pretty. Like even like the lighter part, we've talked about sort of a lot of stories dealing with like violence and like the cost of violence, whether that's, Mr. Miracle or, other books that have various degrees of like lightness versus darkness. But I kind of enjoy this book because it feels more like he's just playing a game, like a fun game, as opposed to like a super serious like examination of something. Like it just feels like kind of a fun style exercise with a Greg Smallwood, which I appreciate how it's kind of turned that my fear around on what I thought it was.
You gotta love Greg Smallwood. Every time I read an issue, it's just like I fall that much more in love with Greg Smallwood's art. It just
I've had to go back and find his older work because he's so good.
Yeah, what else has he done? Because I'll be honest, I'm not that really familiar with his older stuff. Do you have anything?
He's done another Tom King project, right?
I don't even know.
I will find out in a second.
Tom King
the
needs
Batman
to,
issue was great.
Yeah,
great issue.
I enjoyed the issue 8, the Rocket Red as well. Yeah, I think I enjoyed it just mostly because it was clever and sort of like using the medium, which we talk about all the time, of like use the medium to your advantage as a storyteller. And I thought they did that, but the story wasn't. It was almost like an annual or something. You know what I mean? Like
like a fun
it was fun, and it was
in this issue.
He did the Moon Knight run with Lemire. That's what I had tracked down.
Oh, okay. A little different style though, right? That was
little
a little
bit
different.
yeah
than
yeah it was a little
this.
I hate saying grittier. It was dark. I mean, it's Moon Knight, so it takes place at night, so it was darker, certainly. I love his like the Greg Smallwood, like retro but modern LA, which Human Target kind of has that. It feels like a neo-noir film. Is that
Yeah, it's got
accurate?
it has a retro noir, yeah, like mid-century modern. We use that term all the time
Yeah,
for comic art like that, but I think that
yeah.
describes
It's
it, right?
that Darwin Cook thing going on, even though it's
Not
I
Darwin,
mean,
but yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That retro
yeah,
feel to it.
yeah. Darwin nailed mid-century
Yeah.
modern because I think that's
It's a
who he
very
was as a person, right?
it's a very playful book in a good way. Like even
Yes,
though it's
yes.
about like there's a murder and this and that, it's like it is it's that point about that issue being like an annual is a good point. It is like an annual. It's like here's the issue where we tell the story of one whole day by him being like constantly getting knocked out by this guy and getting pissed off that one of his 12 days of being alive left is being wasted this way. But yeah, like very playful.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm sorry, I got down when we started talking about Greg
You
Smallwood
went in
again.
a Greg
There's an artist.
Smallwood rabbit hole, didn't you?
No,
Damn it.
no. But the art, like that his style of art, it reminds me. There's a couple of books out, and it's not George Bridgman. Who is the art? There were any comic book artist out there probably owns the books now. They're incredibly popular, but they were out of print for a long time. They did eventually come back into print. I just can't fucking find. I can't see.
Yeah,
I have
mean,
them
there's
somewhere.
some Milton Caniff in there.
They're on my
Somni
bookshelf.
always said that Caniff was his guy. I think there's a lot of Somni there.
Yeah. Oh God, this is gonna drive. I'm sorry. This is gonna drive me crazy.
No. All right,
Until I
Tom.
figure out. Yeah, talk
He'll
about
come
something.
back. What's JSA? Justice Society of America.
I haven't read it.
You have not read it.
No, I'm on a Jeff Johns break.
You guys.
Wow.
It's not you. It's me. We're on a break.
I have 3 Jokers.
Oh, wow.
Andrew Loomis. Andrew
okay.
Loomis.
Okay.
Andrew Loomis, figure drawing for all it's worth, and he did like 2 or 3 different books on figure drawing. He's one of the most renowned. That Alex Ross, if you look at his pencil work, it's very Andrew Loomis. Greg Smallwood stuff in the Human Target is very Andrew Loomis style.
Okay.
Yes, Andrew Loomis.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So how's Jeff Johns' Justice Society of America?
I didn't know what the F was going on. I needed to call a friend, and you weren't available. It's I don't want to spoil it. Sal, did you read it?
Spoil it. I did. I read it.
It starts in one of the multiverse worlds where Huntress is Helena Bruce or Helena Wayne. She's the daughter of Catwoman and Bruce, and like her best friend is Power Girl. So is that what I forget what Earth that is?
What's
where
Earth 2?
Earth 2. It's an Earth 2, maybe. And the JSA is in kind of a mess where they've had to actually recruit the legacy sons and daughters of JSA villains. So like the son of the Mist is a member of the JSA. Solomon Grundy is a member of the JSA. It's a very gentleman ghost. So it's like this really weird lineup, and you're like, oh shit, is this the lineup that we're going to have for this series? It's kind of cool, but this is obviously not something that's going to stick around. And should I just spoil the shit out of it? And
was it obvious?
Huh?
It wasn't obvious to me that they weren't.
That was going to be the lineup.
Yeah, well, no, I was just like, oh, this is who the lineup is. Fuck. I was kind of like disappointed. I'm like, this is the JSA book I'm gonna read.
Well,
It's
you know what it reminded
Gentleman
me of?
Ghost and
It reminded me of the opening scene of Suicide Squad, the James Gunn one, where it's like what the Mongol's sister and
right.
the Weasel. It's like, wow, you are really scraping for this lineup. It's like, wow, Jeff Johns, it came back to the JSA to write, Solomon Grundy and like it's not even Harley Quinn's son, it's Harlequin's son, who I don't even know who Harlequin is.
Did you suspect what was going to happen?
No, because I was just
okay.
I wasn't looking at it like that. I was very much just kind of along for the ride. I wasn't dissecting it. I was just experiencing it. So spoilers, they kill everyone.
Yeah. Well, no, that was, I mean, it's like I was reading it and I had the same reaction where I'm like,
yeah,
I was very excited when I saw that there was a new Justice Society of America book. Yeah. And it was written by Johns, and the art is by Michael. Not Mike. Is it Michael? Mikhail Janine. Mikhail Janine
and Jody Belair colors.
And so I was really excited for the book, but then you open it, it's like, okay, it's Huntress, but it's Helena Wayne Huntress. So I don't, and it's 26 years in the future. So it's like,
and you're like, oh, okay, well, it's an Earth 2 book. So,
yeah.
Right.
Well, I didn't think that. I had no idea. I just was like, okay, I guess I was just thinking it's in the future. So I guess I don't even think about that shit anymore. It's like whatever universe it is, I really don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't, you know what I mean? Like
whatever. Tell a good story.
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever. And then you have this ragtag group of JSA members, and I'm like, this is kind of disappointing. Right. I'm not really excited about this. But then, like you said, some dude shows up, and I have no idea who that person is, who the bad guy is.
He apparently can control time
right?
From like projected control of time. So it's like he can look at someone. And
wait, is he like per Degaton?
That's absolutely who it is. That's absolutely who it is. So he would like speed up, and it's like he de-aged Gentleman Ghost until he became a person again, and then shot him.
Is it like per Degaton or like per Degaton's son?
Probably. It's going to be some
shit like that.
It's
Tor Degaton. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. They didn't say, but yeah, he kills everyone other than Helena. And then Helena is saved by her mother, Selena, Catwoman, who for some reason sends her back to 1940.
It has something to do with Dr. Fate. It has something to do with Dr. Fate.
Yeah. And the JSA. So it looks like we're going to get Jeff Johns writing a 1940s, at least JSA. For an issue, JSA. So that I'm really excited about.
At the end of the issue, I was like, I'm intrigued.
Yeah,
for sure. I'm gonna read. Sure. I'm gonna read issue 2.
You had Johnny Thunder and Dr. Fate.
It ends with Johnny Thunder.
Justice Society. Yeah. So I'm excited for the next issue for sure. But I was the same way. I'm like, oh, really?
It's
fucking
like, okay.
I mean, Solomon Grundy's kind of fun, but the rest of them, I was just
like the daughter of Red Lantern.
Yeah, could care less. No. I didn't. Yeah, I did. Yeah. I hope they don't come back.
Name.
Yeah,
No. We took some really, really hard to find and dig up cannon fodder for this first issue. It was, it's like
I bet it's per Degaton.
Sure.
Well, that I think he's carrying a Luger. Does that make sense that he would be carrying a Luger?
Well, he's like a German. He's like a he's
shot
like
him with
a weird.
Luger. Yep, shot him with the Luger.
Roy Thomas. I think Roy Thomas came up with per Degaton. Oh, and per Degaton may have been originally from like the 40s, and then
Roy Thomas.
He was like a Nazi stand-in.
Oh yeah, that makes complete sense. Yeah.
Like he was
a member of the Time Trust.
Yeah, a 1960s and 70s Nazi, basically.
No, he appeared in
Basically, yeah.
1947, my friend.
Wow.
John Broome.
He went all
and
the way
Irwin
back.
1947 All-Star Comics number 35.
Oh, so it is. That's JSA. Yeah. So a JSA villain.
And then I think Roy Thomas did a bunch of stuff with him in All-Star Squadron, is where he was like around a lot, was in that book.
Yeah.
Constantly
Yeah, that makes
going back in time and trying to fuck with the Justice Society.
Helena's going back to 1940 Justice Society. It makes complete sense. Yeah, it has to be Per Degaton. That makes
Yeah.
Cool.
I enjoy.
Well, I'm
I
super.
I was pleasantly fucking surprised. Is how I would put it.
Cool. I'll give it a read then.
Yeah.
You got to break your Jeff Johns break for it. Is that what we've discovered?
I love that the Three Jokers broke you that bad.
Such a dumb book. Such like.
John's why? Just Jeff. Why?
The
Why?
book that broke Tom.
The book that like been teased for a long time, for it to come out and be like, oh, okay, there's three jokes. Like it's such a bad story. It's such a like not even like a. It's like now finally this we talked about this last time we talked, like John's desire to like fix things, right? Like sometimes that's good and sometimes it's like, I don't know, man, I don't think you needed to fix the Joker and make sense of it. Like
he was doing pretty good.
Yeah, he was. Trust me, that character's fine. No one's like, oh, I wish.
As much thought as Sal put into that D&D campaign, that's how much Tom has thought about the Three Jokers and how much he hates it.
How much
you have to give him that. He has made you think. He has made you spend time. Thinking about the Three Jokers.
Just fuck.
All right.
Oh no!
Isn't that what great art? Isn't that what great art is supposed to do?
We'll see. Can I talk about the favorite thing I read this week?
Sure.
No.
I read a manga.
Oh.
Muted.
Oh, right,
muting him again.
No, I read a manga. So, Sal, you're never going to read this, but when I'm done telling you what it is, you're going to be intrigued. And you're going to be like, oh, really?
What is it called for the people listening to the show?
I said All You Need Is Kill.
Oh, All You Need Is Kill.
It is by Takeshi Obata. The original story is by Hiroshi Sakurazaka. And so here's
easy for you to say.
Yeah, right. And so here's a mistake I made.
Sakurazaka.
Yes, Sakurazaka.
Hiroshi Sakurazaka.
So I'm going to walk you through this. This was originally a novel called All You Need Is Kill.
And you have the novel? Did you read the novel before you read the comic?
No, because after I ordered the novel by mistake, and then I read some reviews of the novel.
And you open it and you're like, oh, there's no picture, there's just words.
I'm like, God damn it, it's nothing but words.
This what the fuck?
Useless.
Who did this to me?
Useless words. I was
somebody at Amazon pranked them.
Disgusting.
Oh, I would. Yeah, exactly, Tom. I was like, oh,
I'm surprised
man, this is awesome.
One of those
this
into
looks
Wisconsin.
like the size manga I can handle. And I started flipping through it, and I was like, motherfucker.
I'm surprised they snuck a book without pictures into Wisconsin.
Oh,
hey, that's your home state, my friend.
Oh, I know.
Anyway, let's see how long it takes you
by the weekend.
So let's see how long it takes you to figure out what this is. All right, so the story is that there's a very green, non-battle tested soldier who has been recently brought into the military service because there is an alien attack happening on Earth, and in the first day that he is on the battlefield, he dies, but then wakes up at the beginning of the previous day.
It's the Tom Cruise movie.
This is the manga that Edge of Tomorrow is based on.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Ah,
A very
And
underrated movie.
Yeah,
Action
that's a
movie.
good movie.
Excellent
It's one of my
sci-fi action movie.
It's
Come on, relax.
it is
Take
so
it down
good.
a couple
It's
of
one- it's-
notches.
No. It's
Take
one of
a
my.
deep breath, Chris, before you.
It's certainly one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies.
I'm not.
It's a great sci-fi war movie.
I've thought about this, and I'm not afraid to say this might be the Citizen Kane.
No, shut up. Shut up. No, it's certainly a better movie than like Starship Troopers. I think.
Whoa!
No hyperbole.
What?
Yeah. Oh, I think Edge of Tomorrow is a better movie than Starship Troopers.
You're out of your
No.
mind. No, you're crazy.
Really?
Starship
Oh, I
Troopers
think
is
it's-
brilliant. What are you talking
Oh, I
about?
think
Yeah.
no, and I think Edge of Tomorrow is as good.
No.
I love the
No,
concept.
Not even.
It's the
close.
production. I really like Edge of Tomorrow. I think it's.
I don't think
think it's a great movie.
Oh, Edge of Tomorrow is a really fun sci-fi action film.
Yeah.
It is not on the level of the brilliance.
Oh, because of the political kind of
the satire of Starship
Of-
Troopers is.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, it's not even close. If you were to look at
Both-
Starship
both
Troopers
great.
as strictly an action movie or a sci-fi movie, I
Yeah.
could see what you're saying.
Okay, maybe that's it. I think the Edge of Tomorrow is a better sci-fi action movie than Starship Troopers. I think that Starship Troopers has more to say than Edge of Tomorrow, and Edge of Tomorrow certainly looks better.
I don't even put them in the same category of movie. Let's find another movie
Yeah.
to compare
Okay.
it to.
Fair enough. But whatever. The manga really good, and it does not end like the movie. There's a really nice twist in there. So it's a
Is
different.
Tom Cruise in the manga?
It's not. It's whatever
was
his name
kidding. I
is.
was kidding.
No, it's not. But Rita Ratowski is from America. She's part of the U.S. Special forces, whatever. So she's from Pennsylvania or something.
Wow.
But no, really enjoyed it. Beautiful manga art, super fast read. I think it's like $14-15 on Amazon. So.
All it's missing is Tom Cruise, our last living movie star. Our
Right.
last living
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, who just
I will say,
jump off a plane.
Edge of Tomorrow
You'll do it.
is the greatest Emily Blunt
film ever.
for sure.
Yeah, she's good in it. She actually really is good in it.
No, she's terrific in it. It's her best.
Yeah.
I will argue that it is her best film ever. I tell me a better film that she's been in, a better role that she's been in than
can't do it.
Edge of Tomorrow. Can't do it.
You
Well,
can't
maybe
do it.
Sicario. But then
But yeah, I really
Mary
enjoyed
Poppins.
Mary Poppins 2.
that. Oh,
Mary Poppins 2.
Yeah.
Is it 2 or TOO? 2
Mm.
as well.
I don't know. Poppins. It's just Poppins.
It's just Poppins. Poppins time. It's Poppins
It's,
time.
it's Poppins time. Mary Poppins is in the MCU. She's part of the Marvel.
she's part
Disney.
of. She's canon.
She's canon. She's one of
Hey.
the Avengers.
The DC has Ma Hunkle. So what the hell? Why not? Ma
Mhm.
Hunkle, Mary Poppins. Not that far off, really.
Not at all.
Anyone can be a superhero. That's everything. I don't think I read anything else. I think that was everything. I did read that JSA book.
Do we want to? We got just a few minutes here. Do we want to wrap up with how awesome Andor was?
I'm not caught up on it.
What?
Did I finish it? I don't know if I finished it. Or not. Maybe I finished it. How many episodes are there? I never know if it's over or not.
It's 12.
Yeah.
It's 12.
What was
They're all Jedi.
do they all die?
If you don't want to talk about that, we can talk about the Guardian of the Galaxy's holiday special.
Oh, I
from
did
one of my
watch
favorite
that.
bands. It had the old
I did watch
97s
that.
in there. Very exciting for me. As
I
an alt
don't know who
country
they
fan.
are.
They were
Oh.
the band that played the song.
Oh, they were perfect for a band
Shut
that
up.
just learned
Shut
their instruments.
Shut
Yeah,
up.
it's perfect. Perfect
I
for
love
a
that James
hokey.
Gunn is obviously a Rhett Miller and old 97s fan. So
Is Kevin Bacon part of the old 97s?
No, he's Bacon Brothers, right? Is that the?
Oh, I don't know.
It's he and it's no, seriously, it's he and his brother have put out several records, and
Oh,
they
okay.
tour.
I thought that
Yeah,
I assumed that was his band. That's what I
no,
didn't know.
that
I
was
didn't
the
know who
old,
the old
that was
90s.
yeah, it was the old 97s. Yeah,
Bacon
he's
Brothers.
yeah. I mean, he's a working musician probably as much as he is an actor at this point.
Which
Probably time wise, working musician. So
eh,
they're good. I like
It's
their
a
stuff.
hobby.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sure
well,
he's
he-
made
he
much
can
more
afford-
money
He can
how do you
afford to
define
be a musician.
working?
working.
How do you?
I
how do you
think he can
define?
afford to not make money as a musician.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's not a working.
Well, it's like
He's a-
It's like Gina Davis. When Gina Davis became an Olympic archer, it's because she could afford to, right?
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon is a fellowship musician. He's
Okay,
been
that's
granted
fair,
his own money.
And Edge of Tomorrow is not the greatest sci-fi film ever, but it's good.
Kevin
We just
Bacon.
agree on
Not
that.
many people know this, but Kevin Bacon only lives off his music money. He doesn't even
He
that's it.
saved
hasn't
all
touched-
that Footloose money, put it
Yeah.
away, never spent
Yeah.
a penny. Of
He was really
Footloose
good in this. He was funny. He was great
Kevin
as
Bacon-
himself.
Yeah, he was good. He was funny. He's very thin still. I almost worry about
Right?
him. He's so
Yeah,
He's
you're
so
just like,
fucking
come on,
thin.
dude, eat a hamburger, man.
yeah, something. He's been the same weight since Friday the 13th, I think.
He's got to be
He's
what?
just-
He's got to be what? 60, 61, 62 anyway, right?
I would
He's
think
got to be
so,
like
yeah,
12
I-
years older than me, right?
No,
He's
but
gotta be-
that was a fun special. He's 64. It was a fun Christmas, one-off kind of thing.
It was
What
cute.
was with jacked Groot? Why was Groot so
He's-
jacked?
because he's a teenage boy.
Teenage boys don't walk around looking like Schwarzenegger most of the time.
Well, his
Some
people
do.
do. He's just
I
a dumb.
guess.
He's a dumb bro.
He was very jacked. He was just
He's
huge.
he's
He
a
was
dumb
like
bro.
The Rock. He had like the Rock level.
Yeah, he was very big. He was very.
Yeah.
It was just odd.
I like
Uh,
linebacker Groot.
Linebacker. I did enjoy the fact that Kevin Bacon had no idea that he was a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy lore before this. He didn't know. I don't think he ever saw the first movie or anything, and so he didn't know that
Hilarious. Funny.
that Star-Lord was a huge Kevin Bacon fan. So that's kind of funny. Yeah, but yeah, it was fun. I mean, it was it's a Christmas special.
I love the probably really vague wink and a nod to the silliness of the Star Wars holiday special that this was, because that thing is just so ridiculous that I think James Gunn is like, we're gonna make this spiritually, on the same vein of just how ridiculous this is gonna be. I did you feel that at all?
I mean, not really. I think I did think about it, but I think it was more just because Disney and Star Wars are so closely connected. I think I was sort of assuming that there would actually be more of a tangible link between the two.
Yeah, like
Then
Boba
there
Fett
was.
shows up or something.
Something, yeah. I kind of like when I saw
Well,
that there was going to be a
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, my first thought was the Star Wars Christmas special.
Sure.
But I don't think it really in any way.
Well, they had every
was-
opportunity because they're on like the Hollywood Walk of Fame and they're throwing, obviously at Captain America. And I love the
Yeah.
fucking GoBot drop there. It's like, oh yeah, the GoBot killed his brother. Was hilarious.
Did Batista looked a little out of shape. Looked a little. His face was a little
Well,
round.
you heard what he said. It's about playing that role.
No.
It's that he's not doing it shirtless anymore.
Oh.
That dude is ready to kick back, drink some fucking tall boys,
Yeah.
eat some peaches, and enjoy his money.
Can't blame him. Can't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, to stay that fucking ripped, that's a full-time job. That dude definitely does not want to be that guy.
Well, I mean, it is your full-time job, buddy. Sorry to tell you,
He's ma-
that is your job. Stay in shape, fat boy. Get on the steroids again. You don't want to
When
take.
they asked,
that's
when
your
they
job.
asked Chris Pratt, who we all knew from Parks and Rec as, kind of being like this, portly, kind of just like, pudgy guy. And they asked him, it's like, how did you get so in shape? And he's like, a lot of money. Basically my full-time job was eating nothing and punishing myself all day long.
Yeah. That's
In
your
the
fucking
gym.
job. You get paid millions
right.
of dollars to do
Yeah.
what people do for free.
Yeah.
To
It's
look
like,
better on Tinder.
Yeah. Right.
Quit crying, fucking Chris Pratt. You
No,
don't
he
have
wasn't
any
crying.
other skills.
He wasn't crying. He's like, no, people paid me to look like this. This was my job to do this.
No.
If your job was to get ripped, yeah, you would get ripped.
I probably wouldn't. I don't think I could.
Oh,
I don't think it'd be possible. I'd die before I could get like 6-pack.
like jacked.
Unless you injected me with a bunch of drugs, which I'm sure, if you gave me the Kamal packet of drugs, I would get ripped.
Kamal, what? What is that?
The dude that played the guy from the comedian Kamali, whatever. I don't know his fucking last name.
But now he's just like permanently ripped.
Super ripped.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Kumal,
God, yeah. The Indian comedic actor. Jabrani. Is it? Oh gosh,
I don't know his fucking name.
Yeah. He
That's
was
why I
in
didn't say it.
the Eternals, right?
Yeah, he got ripped for the Eternals, even though they didn't ask him to.
Yeah.
They're like, you don't need to. You don't need to get jacked.
Super cute romantic comedy that took place in
Kumail
Chicago.
Nanjiani.
Yes.
Kumali,
Yeah, he did a super cute romantic comedy in Chicago when he was like a normal sized person, and now it's like they took his head off and put it onto like a GI Joe character.
But his head is also like is like weird
grown.
Yeah. It's like Barry Bonds' head.
Well, I mean, HGH will,
we'll do
your
that.
bone mass. Yeah, it'll change your bone structure, and he'll probably go bald soon, I would think. But he's you know what he is in right now is Welcome to Chippendales.
Oh yeah.
The story,
I saw that.
Which I've
weird.
Enjoyed the first couple episodes of, actually.
Really?
It's kind of an interesting. Well, it's set in the 1970s. I love anything 1970s. And I didn't know this, but you find out very quickly in the first episode that the guy that created Chippendales, so he was this I don't know, Pakistani or Indian. He was this guy from LA or he wasn't from LA, but he worked at like his uncle's gas station for like 5 years, and he saved up all this money, and he decided he didn't want to do that. He wanted to go to Hollywood, and his idol was Hugh Hefner. So he wanted to go to Hollywood, and he wanted to open up like a classy baccarat, or it was a baccarat, or it was either not baccarat. What's the other? Backgammon. He opened a classy backgammon parlor, which failed miserably. But then he runs into this, right, in the 1970s. But then he runs into this sort of kind of con man shyster dude, and they partner up, and he ends up opening up what becomes Chippendales. But what I didn't know was the guy, the sort of con man shyster guy, was the boyfriend / husband of Paul Snider, who was the husband and / pimp of the Playboy Playmate Dorothy Stratton. If you've ever seen the movie Star 80, who he ends up, Star 80 is a really terrific, well, not terrific, but it's really horrific film from the 80s about Dorothy Stratton, who was this Playboy Playmate, who her boyfriend, I think they were married at the time. Paul Snider ended up killing her and then blowing his own brains out. And so Eric Roberts plays an incredibly slimeball Paul Snider in the movie, but I didn't know that the guy who created Chippendales was partnered up with Paul Snider when this happened. And that's part of the show. But even though the show is not like that dark like that episode was. But it was sort of interesting, like, oh shit, I had no idea that was the case, that they knew each other. But the show itself was kind of fun and funny, to some degree. So anyway,
Cool.
there you go. Welcome to Chip and Dale.
Chippendales.
And watch Star 80 if you've never seen Star 80. It's Mariel Hemingway plays Dorothy Stratton.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Last TV throw out before we wrap up, The Peripheral on Amazon. Really enjoying it.
I started it. I haven't gone back to it.
It gets better.
It
It's one of those that does get better. We both agreed that 1899 was not entertaining.
Everybody's talking about that fucking show, and it's
Just like-
boring as shit.
Yeah. I couldn't
Everybody's
make
like, "Oh, you got to get through 3 episodes." I'm like, if it takes you 3 fucking episodes to get
It doesn't
interesting,
get
go
good until
fuck off.
No, but stick with The Peripheral. I'm enjoying it. It's cool.
That was that fucking show you used to watch, that sci-fi show. I can't
Fringe.
think of what it was. No,
That was
It
one.
was-
Just get to season 3. Like that's like
Yeah.
45 goddamn episodes.
yeah,
and then
no shit.
And then it does get amazing. But Foundation.
No, the one that is good. It did end up getting good for a couple of seasons, but then it
The
was shit
Expanse.
again. The Expanse, yeah.
Yeah,
That was like,
thing's-
oh, you got to get through 2 seasons of it before it gets good. It's like, go
Yeah.
fuck yourself.
The Expanse is a roller coaster of I'm still enjoying this, but it's kind of a slog at
There's
certain
one
points.
good season of that fucking show. Just watch
Did you
one.
get through all of it? Did you get through all of it?
I don't know. I might have stopped at some point. It was terrible.
Yeah. I enjoyed it, but yeah, it's no Babylon 5, my friend.
I don't know if I ever watched all of that.
The last season was not good. The last episode is some of the best sci-fi TV I've ever seen.
I've never seen all of The Sopranos.
I have not
Never
watched
watched
the finale. I have not
Yeah.
let myself watch the finale.
I
didn't
missed
watch
an
the last
entire
season.
season and a half of Mad Men. I just stopped paying attention, and then I started watching it again, and it was fine.
And you
And
caught up.
I was like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to go back. I stopped watching because I thought it was boring, but I like this. So then I just finished it out. I was like,
Oh, I love Mad Men.
my wife was like, "You want to go back and watch those?" I'm like, "No, I'm all
I'm
right.
good.
Like I can guess.
I'm
what's
rewatching.
happening, you know,
Breaking.
There is
Bad
a
with my
season of The
son.
Wire that was like that. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm rewatching Breaking Bad with my son. He
Oh,
wanted to watch that, and so we're watching Breaking Bad again. And it's funny because like I watched the first season, we got through the first season, and I'm like, 1, I forgot most of everything that happened in the season, and 2, I was like, holy shit, did a lot of stuff happen in one season of television, because I'm so used to like nothing happening in a season of television. That was like, oh, fuck, man, there were so many things that happened in one season of television in Breaking Bad. That was such a great show. Worth a rewatch.
definitely not slow moving.
No.
Definitely stuff happening all the time.
Yes. Joe G says you need to watch you need to use the Joe G method of binge watching. Watch the first episode of the season and the last episode of the season. The recap of the last episode tells you all you need to know. What is the
I
point
love
of
you,
that,
Joe. I love you, Joe. That's amazing.
Joe's like, I don't have
is-
time for this bullshit.
I can watch all this shit.
It's like, I want to know about it. I just don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
You're the
Yeah.
guy, Joe. Are you? You're the guy that watches all the YouTube videos about comic book series just so you know what you're talking about, but you've never actually read the comic book. Is that? We're not
It's
that
like
show.
my-
If you've been waiting for us to do that,
It's
No,
like
I-
my wife and I, like, we kind of cycle through various TV shows as like our sort of like on when we don't want to really pay attention or you might fall asleep. So my wife was rewatching the OC from the beginning, and like it's incredible to watch a TV show from the early aughts that before streaming, where you're like, oh wow, you are not meant to watch 3 of these in a row. Like this doesn't make any sense. The only way it makes sense is if you've sort of forgot what happened, you know, and it's like they just had this argument. They had this exact argument the last episode. And you sit there and you're like, oh, that's right. Back in the day when it was on,
we had to
which I remember.
Yeah.
You maybe didn't remember what happened. You were like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that. But now
you
it's
just
like,
described.
Jesus Christ.
You just described the first 7 seasons of Gilmore Girls.
It's like, holy shit, you're doing this again? We just did this.
Right.
Andy Cohen, he's like talking about how important it is that he's a public defender and how that matters to him. And then like 2 episodes later, he like randomly quits. And it's like, wait, what did you just talked about? Like how important this was to you. Like, it's like, nope, I'm going to go, you know, it's wild. Not meant to be watched consecutively, you know. And also like 24 episodes a season.
Yeah,
you're just like, holy shit, there's a lot of soap opera you got it right there.
Going back to the beginning of this episode, I forgot to ask, we were talking about the Addams family. So Morticia Addams's maiden name is Frump. Isn't that what Trump's real name is? Isn't his born like?
Oh,
isn't it Frump? He changed it to Trump. I think that's
Morticia
or
Addams
Trump.
Donald.
Or it's like,
was it Trump
or something?
Donald Trump,
or like his great grandfather changed it from.
There was a name change whenever they came across because is he Scottish?
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. To be honest,
he just likes golf.
About the Frump. The Frumps.
The Frumps.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. That's all I knew.
Yeah. Guys, it was good to see you. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. We'll be back again next Thursday for another breakneck speed episode of Comic Excitement. In the meantime,
don't promise things we can't deliver.
Hey man, my
in between
a breakneck speed may be different than someone else.
Chris is kind of our Uncle Fester.
What does that make? Man. What am I? What am I in this Addams family then?
Oh, you're Lurch.
I'm Lurch. Come on, Lurch is inarticulate. I'm not inarticulate.
No,
he's Gomez.
He's a thoughtful.
I'm Gomez. Guy. Don't fucking. I'm definitely Gomez. I'm sexy and passionate.
So Thomas,
I like swords.
Thomas,
I'm cousin it.
Yeah, cousin
thing.
You're hairy. You're very hairy.
Thing. I'll take thing.
I'll take him. I'll take Uncle Fester. I'm down with that. Good. I mean, I've got the hairline for it. All right. In the meantime,
in between time,
we'll be everywhere in
Paramia
and
and around comics.
Give Tactical Chris a light bulb. I love it. Comics.
See if he'll light it in his mouth. Like, how did they do that?
Tactical Chris thinks the atoms should go back where they came from. That's it.
Yeah. That's no nuclear family.
Yeah.